Hello there and welcome. Today we're doing another Star Wars Shatterpoint battle report, and this one will be with guest Samuel Sweeten, who won the recent Grand Tournament in Hamilton, Ontario. And I thought bring him on to this match because it's the top four game between Ryan and his son Donovan. But Ryan's running the full Spectre Cell, and Sam was basically maining a Spectre Cell list at his tournament. So I'll let you say hi.
Yeah, hey everyone. I'm excited to be talking about this game here. I was playing a Kane and Hera list, slightly different. I had Commandos over Zeb and Callus instead of Sabine, but I'm excited to see this game here.
Yeah. So do you want to talk about that swap and why you went with that swap?
Yeah, so the main things are I wanted the extra bodies from Commandos. Having six bodies can be tricky, especially because I was bringing shifting priorities where you want to spread out upon the midline pretty quickly. And then I've really liked the consistency that Callus brings to activations. I think Sabine is still really good. I don't think it's a mistake any of the to bring Sabine. And Zeb definitely has his place. So I'm excited to see how everything goes here. But that was my thoughts on those lists. That's why I brought Callus and Commandos. I just wanted more bodies and I wanted the rerolls to really make every activation have its full impact.
Fair enough. Did you start off trying the two squads kind of from the box as is like this?
I did. That was where I initially started, was just playing from the box. That's where I typically start when playing Shatterpoint, is I will play things as is from the box, get a feel for it, and then make adjustments from there.
Nice. So yeah, I've only tried out the Spectre Cell. I tried it out of the box here too, just with a TTS game against myself one time. So I really thought that that you will probably have a better idea of like being able to see lines of play that I may not see on with this, especially with Hera. I tried her out and yeah, her kit seems really cool, but there's like it seems like there's so much possibility that you can do that um, that it definitely takes some reps to see easily where that goes.
Yeah, that's definitely true. She takes a lot of reps to see the lines, so to speak. She can do some crazy stuff, but you need to have practice in order to see where everything will best fit in the explosive turns that she can play.
All right, so yeah, Donovan's list we've seen a couple times because if you've seen the final game as well as the top eight game that just came out, but he will be bringing, well, both teams will be bringing six force. Vader, of course, has the refresh. Kanan has a possible refresh. I don't know how often we'll see that, but he can potentially refresh. Um, and yeah, we've got Ezra as a tiebreaker, Moff Gideon and Fifth Brother on the other side as tiebreaking units. Um, but as you can see, they're set up for Sabotage Showdown. Not sure which one, but we'll see. I guess as the game gets going. So get that started.
I will say that for Sabotage Showdown, I do feel like that's the best for the pure Spectre.
Yeah.
So I can see perhaps that's what he brought. We'll see who goes first and who picks
Mm-hmm.
up, but
Yeah, I've seen some people saying that actually the fact that there's 6 objectives um, is not great for Spectre Cell, because then kind of it's one body per point. But um, but I guess that's if you're trying to go fully across the board as well.
Yeah, that's true, but also there can be when you're playing with just 6 bodies, you're trying on shifting, you're trying to swing multiple points at the same time, so that can be real
Which
rough
yeah,
to try and do that multiple swing. And on odds, you can have some just because things are so spread out, you're not going to get your chopper synergies when wounded, or it's harder to get the Ezra Kanan extra jumps going off each other. So you can miss some of your synergies there.
right. So it looks like Donovan is going first. He's decided to reserve Stormtrooper Sergeant, and so he's instead getting Darth Vader next. Not sure if that's what he wanted to draw into there, but of course, if he doesn't wound anything, he'll just be shuffled back into the deck anyway.
Yeah, it's not awful to go with Emperor Servant early because of that, where he can just go back into the deck. It's not as punishing as if this were Jedi Hunter, where an early activation feels like you're just not getting the full value out of him.
Mm. And he will.
Interesting that he didn't.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, he goes up the ladder here to claim that point. Interesting he didn't want to go with Sergeant at the very beginning.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I guess maybe thinking that he doesn't have the movement to quite get to the midline, but it's a pretty clear shot there. If probably a move action and take cover could get him there at the on the ground level.
Yeah, he would at least get the ground level, and I don't think that's a bad Sergeant activation just to
Mm-hmm.
have him go up and take a point.
Well, sounds like Ryan's getting his Shatterpoint.
Interesting.
Who would you pick?
With the very first turn Shatterpoint here, it's either Kanan or Hera. If it's probably someone to take that point from Vader. Because if you pick someone on the other side that takes that empty point, then he can just then uh I need to keep track of who's playing who. So Ryan is playing Spectre and
Yeah,
Donovan's playing Empire, right?
yeah,
So
that's right.
if he sends someone to that empty point, then Donovan will be able to respond by taking that point from him and score 4 on his first turn of scoring. So I would have picked somebody on the Vader side of the board to take that point back from him so that I'm still scoring 3, but that if Donovan only takes 1 point, then he's scoring 3 points instead of 4.
Yeah, that makes sense. And he has, I assume on purpose, given that he's second player, lined up Kanan on the side of Vader. So he does have that option to force push if needed to get him off.
Yeah, so it looks like he is choosing Kanan here, and he's dashing
Mm-hmm.
up Ezra, I believe. So
Yeah.
yeah, so this is I think the play I would make. Go up there,
Mm-hmm.
take that point from Vader, keep the scoring parity even.
So yeah, I'm not. Yeah, so not lined up to get that extra jump out of Ezra, but um, but he doesn't need any extra movement this way to be engaged with Vader. He's
It's
switching to
interesting.
Sarasu there.
Yeah, it's interesting that he chooses to make the swamp. I wonder if he was in range after that first dash for the shot. If not, I guess this makes sense here. Go, you really want to get that one shove.
Right, because yeah, that will be enough to get him off, just the one shove.
Yeah. If you have Callus here, I think maybe you risk staying in pack leader and
Right.
reroll if
Hmm.
needed.
Sounds like he's getting 3 down his tree anyway, so that'll do it.
There'll be 2 shoves and 5 damage and some other effect, I assume.
Yeah, 5 damage for sure. And a shove. Let's see if he goes
You
the disarm and
the
another shove or expose and pin.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 pushes, like you said.
So flipping into Sorisu means you really don't want to draw Kanan on your next card here because then his Force Refresh doesn't go anywhere. It
Right.
also makes the Hera activation kind of awkward unless you draw Sabine first because she really needs that dash to get up to that midline point.
Mm,
And now you've
right.
lost one potential dash by having him be on Sorisu. But this
Hmm.
does mean you can be more free with spending your force. So if he can take advantage of that force economy, that could pay off here.
Hmm. Right, so he's gonna score 3. How do you feel about, I guess, being in? Well, I guess so. I guess because this was his Shatterpoint, he knows that Kanan's gonna come up, and he can swap him back into pack leader for the revenge attacks, right?
Yeah. In general, I don't change into Sarisu and feel like unless I feel like I have to. Like I really need that shove on one.
Hmm.
I think here he had some play for if he doesn't get the shove on one, he could force push, which isn't the end of the world. So I'm not sure would have made the swap, but I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's a mistake, like a game-breaking mistake. Or I'm not even sure that it's a mistake, just maybe just a play style difference. And so
Right.
here it looks like we have Moff Gideon.
Yeah.
I think Moff Gideon is very, very good into Hera specifically,
Yeah.
because I often Hera needs to go at the exact precise time to get the big
Mm.
turns that she really wants. And
Hmm.
Moff Gideon can really put a hamper on that with his 4 stacks for reserving.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. He's gonna be scoring 3 back, so then they'll both get a momentum. I think he just dashed um, fifth brother up with his tactic there.
Makes sense.
And oh, he's I guess he's looking at Long Live the Empire or fifth brother there as well.
If he can get
Yeah, he's
2
gonna go.
tie-breaking units on that point, it becomes almost impossible for Ryan to swing it back.
Hmm.
Well, it looks like he can't get fifth brother up there on that same elevation. But it's really
Right.
hard with the 6 bodies of Spectre to get 2 bodies up there, which is what you need. You
Hmm.
can probably shove one off, but it makes sense to just move him up the board and try and really lock down that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw him in his top 8 game as well. Um, he did basically a first turn Long Live the Empire as well, and 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 yeah, was able to actually secure the 4 points because he had given a Dark Trooper to dash and then the reposition, but moved Moff Gideon the other way, and and so had a body on both points, both midline points, turn 1.
Yeah. He also has put fifth brother in a scary spot for Stormtrooper Sergeant's activation. I can't quite tell if there's an Ingress point by Ryan's back home point, but if there is, fifth brother
Mm.
could
Mm-hmm.
advance up there with Storm Super Sergeant and just take that back point.
Right, that's true. Yeah, there is a ladder on the building, kind of right by Ryan's hand right now.
Okay, so that might be a little bit far
Might,
away for Fifth Brother to get to.
yeah. Um, and then maybe on the other side of that building as well, um, closer to the points, but like
Looks like he's
close to the
got Hera
deployment side.
here. Yeah, close to the deployment side over there.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, because he's advancing Zeb up, so you're probably right. This is probably
Yeah.
Hera going. Trying to see. Looks like where he can get a shot on Fifth Brother.
Yeah, this is where not giving Kanan's dash to Hera is going to hurt because you can't get that shot on Moff Gideon. You can shoot Fifth Brother here,
Mm-hmm.
but we know that Fifth Brother can be moved back, the Stormtrooper Sergeant, and is still in the deck, unlike Moff Gideon.
Right. We're going to take a shot in Spread a Little Light. So three successes again. You can get the 2 shoves through. One will be blocked by a steadfast. Taking the top, not going to do any shoves. So 3 damage. The pin and disarm will go through.
I think putting on the pin makes a lot of sense so that
Mm-hmm.
you can't get the shenanigans from Stormtrooper Sergeant going on here.
Yeah, that makes sense. And we've got Death Trooper Escort being picked next. Who, same thing, could give a reposition to Fifth Brother.
Yeah.
He'll score 3 there again. Gonna give a Dark Trooper the Dark Troopers each a dash.
I like getting them up. It also makes that Stormtrooper Sergeant activation have a lot of threat presence across the board.
Mm. He's gonna take his dash and focus from the tactical advance. Yeah, that's becoming a very, very difficult point to flip.
Yeah, that's going to be a really tricky one to ever get any ground on. Ryan will really just have to work on locking down the point where Kanan's at, and then trying to steal a back point seems like a better option than trying to take that point.
Mm-hmm. Which
That
he has, that entire side has left his back point.
Yeah.
So Zeb might be able to consider going for it.
Yeah.
So the shot's on Hera, and she gets to benefit from the cover that she gives out herself. Looks like 2 damage and disarm is going to be going through there. And 1 shove. And we'll go back to the 0 again with 3 points. So another momentum each.
I should say that this parity position definitely favors Ryan right now. If he can just keep parity, he'll eventually win on that momentum. But his board position also feels easier to dismantle than Donovan's.
Right. And it looks like he's getting Kanan now, because he got a force refresh, as well as a heal because he's on Sarasu's side. But heal won't do anything right now.
Yeah, not
And
getting that dash is tricky here for him.
yeah, because he is looking at um, going for that back point because it's at a different elevation than Donovan's units. But then that leaves the other point open, so we'd have to check if Vader's in in contesting range on the ground there.
Yeah, I think what you would have to do to make this play work is you switch into pack leader, you shoot Vader, hope to get some shoves for some extra movement on Kanan,
Mm-hmm.
and then you make a climb action. So you get Vader off that point that you're on, you get some shoves forward, and then try and climb onto that back point.
Right.
But the terrain might not quite allow that with that rock right by Vader. Which that looks like what he's doing. He's flipping and shooting
Yeah.
first.
Yeah. Taking a shot on Vader. There's a lot of crits on all of these rolls. Some of them coming from the expertise, but getting a few natural ones there too.
Yeah, Kanan's range expertise on pack leader is just a crit machine.
Yeah.
2 expertise for 2 crits is great.
Mm-hmm.
Or if he gets that reposition on his expertise or from his tree, that would be a big deal too.
Mm-hmm. I think it seems like he's getting his full tree. He's counting a lot of damage there.
Yeah, it looks like he wounded Vader.
Yeah. So momentum for him.
Yeah, that's a big deal. That hurts the force economy. Because now Vader, instead of being net neutral in force, he's now kind of a net -1, refreshes 1, but then he basically always spends for his extra movement.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, he's taking the follow-up down. And then doing that second shove. Really getting him out of position as well. Yeah, gets the reposition. She can take a ladder up.
Yeah, and he still has a movement, so he can then nestle in
Mm.
right by those boxes, so it becomes really hard to shove off.
Yeah, considering the other back point as well.
I think they're both good to take.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably take the one next to his Stormtrooper Sergeant and his Dark Troopers, but
Mm-hmm.
this is good too, because Zeb can make it to the one by the Stormtrooper Sergeant and the Dark Troopers as well. So
Yeah, that's true. So he's gonna get 4 points here, and so yeah, he'll be one away from getting the struggle there. Or they're side by side for now. We'll see how many points he needs on his next turn. Donovan still keeping Stormtrooper Sergeant in reserve and going with the Dark Troopers.
interesting. Dark Troopers aren't bad here. They have the free point to take up at that center point, and then you can maybe also take the one from Kanan. It's tricky.
Mm-hmm.
You have to shove them off, get the pin, get the movement to get up to the ladder. They can definitely do it. So this could be a big swing turn here.
Mm-hmm. I think he's taking the jump first, and then so now he's going to take his shot into Kanan. See if he shoves him off.
Yeah, you really want 2 steps here to both shove and pin Kanan, so he can't just dash back up.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, getting 3 damage, 2 shoves and pin through. And so Kanan's dash from his expertise is going to get rid of that pin.
Yes, this will be a big turn. He will score 4 right back.
Mm-hmm.
And if he also gets a pin on Zeb here, that really hampers Ryan's chances of having a big swing with Zeb in the future to steal a back point.
Yeah, this is true. Checking for cover, I think he was a little out of Hare's bubble there with Zeb. He's going to get 2 recovers on the defensive expertise, though, so that should get rid of the pin for him.
Yeah, that'll be good. I really like this position from Donovan. You have one of the midnight points super well locked down. Dark Troopers are difficult to displace because of their excellent expertise. So even though he's behind in like the tempo of scoring, it's going to be. It just seems like he has potential for explosive turns in the future to score more points.
Right. So yeah, taking his move action to get right on top of those objectives and get the 4 points back.
Yeah, now
Both get a
Sergeant could
momentum.
potentially move that Dark Trooper to the back point.
Yeah, that's true too. So Sabine is going next. Ryan's sitting with 2, so he would need to flip a point and wound somebody in order to take the struggle now. Which he doesn't have. I mean, Fifth Brother is an option. It's the flipping a point that's going to be a little difficult for Sabine.
Yeah, fifth. Yeah, Sabine will have trouble with that. If Yeah, Ezra looks like he's just too far away to jump to that Ingress point and win that tiebreaker against the Dark Trooper. Not sure he can land there anyways. There might not be enough space,
Mm-hmm.
which would be something that Sabine could do. I would, depending on how much force he spent, which I'm not sure exactly how much he has spent. He's gotten a refresh.
Yeah, he's got 5 left.
Yeah, I would actually consider reserving here.
Mm-hmm.
Like getting Chopper is bad, but getting Ezra or Zeb seems really quite good here.
Yeah, it looks like he's dashing Chopper, I think, to that ingress point um, near the deployment there, getting him, uh, getting him right on top of that back objective,
Yep.
and then taking the move action.
Getting the focus.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then he's gonna do the fireworks first here.
Yeah, you could get a lot of damage. There's 3 people
Yeah.
on that point.
Mm-hmm. Oh, just getting 1 there. But 1 for Moff, Death Trooper, Escort, and Fifth Brother.
Yeah, 1 force for 3 total damage plus a jump is
Mm-hmm.
a pretty efficient use of force.
So intending to not be engaged with Death Trooper Escort, even
Yeah,
though
because I
that'll
assume.
keep him off the point.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, not being on the point can be tricky. What this will force you into on your chopper activation is you must pay for mayhem in order to try and get the pin on Death Trooper Escort before you attack him, so that he can't just reposition back onto the point. Because I'm assuming he's trying to shoot Moff off here. And then for chopper to swing that point, he has to remove Death Trooper Escort because there's not two bodies.
Bad rolls on both sides, they're saying. But yeah, I missed. Oh yeah, it was on Fifth Brother.
Shooting Fifth
so
Brother.
Yeah, so he did get the wound through there. And oh, he said that he scored 3, but it's just 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay. They fixed it. They caught it.
Looks like they're just catching up their momentum here.
Mm-hmm. Got a little too excited. Thought he had that struggle already.
Yeah. Maybe that explains part of this play of not trying to shoot off Moff and just going for the wound when he thought he could win. Just miscounted the momentum and the struggle tracker.
Right. All right. So yeah, Donovan's sitting with 4 here. So we're not going to get the parity anymore. He's pulling Vader now. And he is going to go ahead with him. So he's not actually. There's, even though Kanan pushed him off that point, he ran away, and now there's no one super close to Vader. So we'll definitely have to pay for extra movement in order to get a melee attack anyway. But looks like he's seeing
if he's concerned about his force, he can just move and throw.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's just looking to see where he can get in range there for Zeb.
Yeah, so okay, so he marked the force refresh, so decided to go with him and kind of pre-measured that he could get in range for at least the ranged attack.
Yeah. I think this makes sense. If you're resigned to Vader can't score a point here, we are going to save the force for future Vader activations, or Sergeant, or Fifth Brother, who is now wounded and still on the deck, so his force cost will be really high. You can just get some damage down onto Zeb. Maybe put some conditions.
Two steps, it looks like. So, yeah, did he mark a pin on there? I think, yeah. So we got 3 damage and pin through on that.
Looks like Zeb didn't get his heal.
Yeah, because the pin's staying there.
When he did spend that force to move Vader onto that back point.
Oh, okay. Look at that. I wonder if he, because that would have had to have been a climb. I wonder if he thought the anger, hate, and aggression was an advance instead of a dash to get in ranges up there first.
Yeah, that might have. Well, it looks like he just spent the force right now, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think there actually might be a hidden ladder on that building.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Kind of underneath that. Yeah, that would make more sense. So you got 4 there. Now it's Zeb's turn. So he's got to get rid of that pin. And he's going to spend a force for the advance.
So this is where Sabine not being on that point is going to hurt.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, gets his focus because he's engaged with Death Trooper Escort. Gonna smack him in the head.
So he's looking for 3 steps for shove pin.
Hmm? Sounds like he's getting 4 steps through. Or full tree on that. So taking the middle track for 6 damage, which will be down to 5 for protection. Throw the pin on there, shove, and he'll get a reposition, which you may use to get centered on that point.
Yeah. Getting that pin is big here.
So he's choosing not to do the
Chose
shove.
not to push him off? Interesting.
Yeah.
So this allows him to get another melee attack for 1 force. I'm not sure you want to spend that force here because you're going to need a force for Ezra, and I think you really want that 2 force from Chopper. I think getting out those conditions is going to be important here, but I could see why perhaps you would value this attack more than the conditions from Chopper here, being that they're random.
Right. Do you think, I mean, with the reposition, he could have shoved Death Trooper Escort off and then got engaged with Moff to maybe shove him away. But do you think maybe that's
Zeb's
not...
attack is his second attack is restricted to the same target.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So if he's going for a wound here, maybe this makes sense, but I'm not sure that he got with the second attack like he got the shove through, which is really backbreaking here, right? So a risk that didn't quite work out.
Yeah. They'll both get a momentum because they landed back on the 0 again. So Donovan is already set to take this struggle with his 4 points. So now Stormtrooper Sergeant's gonna go. Gave the Dark Troopers each an advance into the middle, and then he's just doing a take cover and move underneath his other back point there as well.
He's in a really strong position for struggle 2, as he is on he is controlling 5 of the 7 possible objectives. Well, no,
Right.
4, because he moved someone off that other point.
Right, yeah.
Well, he's still controlling 4 to 2. So no matter what Ryan picks, he's going to be giving Donovan a point that he's already controlling.
Yeah, that's the thing with Sabotage Showdown having only 7 possible objectives. You can definitely winning struggle 1. If you've even got like your 2 back points and then those 2 middle points and throw somebody on the center, it's really not great options for your opponent.
Yeah, it looks like so it's Vader's point, Chopper's point, and No Man's Land that are active.
Yeah. And priority is going to be Chopper's point, which is nice for Ryan.
Yeah. He really wants to draw Ezra here. I believe he just has Ezra or Chopper left. I think it's to the point that you would probably reserve Chopper in order just to get Ezra here so you can score 3 instead of just 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good point for sure. Yeah, and there, I think he's saying pretty much the same thing there.
Yeah. And then in Donovan's deck, he has Fifth Brother and Vader reshuffled back in, I believe, still left in his deck.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Looks like he didn't have
And,
to reserve. He just drew Ezra.
right. And I don't think Donovan's used his Shatterpoint yet either.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because, yeah, he's shuffled Vader back in twice.
It's an excellent defensive roll from Vader. It's like 6 blocks.
Mm-hmm. Ezra will get 2 crits through, though, it sounds like.
Shatterpointing Dark Troopers here could be a big deal. If he gets Shatterpoint and chooses Dark Troopers, he could swing the entire board.
Yeah, that's true. So Ezra will get a shove on Vader, but that's not going to get him off of the point. And this Ryan will score 3 here. And the priority is going to be Vader's spot for Donovan, which is nice for him.
Yeah, that's real nice.
And there's the Shatterpoint.
Yeah, let's see if he goes with the Dark Troopers here. That's what I think the most obvious line to me is, but he could see something different.
Looking
Trying to see if he can fit.
Yeah.
I don't think he can, but it's tight. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to do probably a move and jump to get up there.
Yeah. He still can't shoot
left.
Chopper because Chopper's in the deck. So I think you have to jump first to get into melee with Chopper, jump to get into range of Ezra, and then try and shove Ezra off, and then you can have your movement to get up that ladder.
Right. Donovan's remembering that he hasn't actually gone with Fifth Brother yet. The droid syndrome, where you've given him so much movement that it feels like they've gone already.
Yep.
And yeah, so he is going with Dark Troopers.
Yeah.
Doing that jump. And yeah, gonna do the move action.
The
climb.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if he pulls this off, if he gets both of these, I think it becomes really, really hard for Ryan to pull this back. Because he gets Chopper and he needs the priority point to be the point that Chopper's on, or he's only scoring 1.
Hmm. Yeah, I know he's probably wanting to avoid the point that Moff, Death Trooper, Fifth Brother are all by, but he also doesn't have much of anyone on the side where the objectives are,
Yeah.
um, which yeah is gonna make for a difficult situation here.
Yeah, Ezra's really the only person that can threaten 2 of those objectives.
Yeah. So we did get the push for getting Ezra off that point.
And he gets it for Chopper.
And for Chopper, yeah. So yeah, that will be 4-point swing happening. Dark Troopers showing why they appear in almost every Empire list.
They are one of the best Shatterpoint targets in any Empire list. I see them Shatterpointed regularly. They are just incredibly tanky and incredibly good tree with shove, pin, shove.
Mm-hmm. So the priority is going to be the one Vader's on. And of course, Chopper is last in the deck, so he's going to go.
Yeah, so before he attacks here, I assume he'll spend for Mayhem to try and expose the Dark Troopers. But looks like he does not do that.
Yeah, going straight into the roll here. So we're getting the 3 steps for 4 damage and a shove. So he does get a shove off there.
Yeah, he'll still get the point.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like he just missed doing Mayhem. He had the force for it, so he could have.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't have cost him anything to do that. But now he'll get all his force back. I believe. I believe that's his entire deck.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's maybe looking at his force now and saying, "Oh, I might as well spend one
Mm-hmm.
for that."
Yeah.
So he does get the strain and expose onto the Dark Troopers.
So the Donovan's in a great spot here. The one tricky thing is that because he's out of force, Fifth Brother doesn't seem like he'll do much here.
Right.
If there's an Ingress point he can make it to, and he can get up to Chopper, that's great. But now Chopper, Fifth Brother's melee only, so
Mm-hmm.
maybe his best option is just to climb and smack Zeb.
Yeah. Do you think that's the kind of the best target for starting to chip some damage into?
Yeah, he has 6 damage in him, so you can just wound him and get a momentum here and score
Oh, right.
score 3.
Mm-hmm.
So that just it puts you in a good spot score wise, I think.
Mm-hmm. Looks like he's doing the take cover. I think he's seeing if
Mm,
that must
yep, it
have
looks like
gotten him
that's
in
good enough.
range.
Yeah,
Yeah,
steal
for
that from
Ingress.
Chopper, score 4. Yeah, that's better than my Zeb play.
Mm.
So
Yeah, that's not something people always think about is taking the take cover first, so that your move action actually gets you in range of an ingress point, because the take cover doesn't allow you to take the ingress points, right?
Yeah. I've been playing more. It makes a lot of sense to do it with Fifth Brother. That's often my move pattern. I've been playing more Grief Karga recently, and that's been my play pattern with him. Is most often he just takes cover, moves, rarely attacks.
Right. So it looks like I think
So I think Hera is the best draw here.
right. Because yeah, I think priority is the expertise, so the one that Ezra's close to.
Yeah. Hera could reposition, could advance Ezra onto that ladder, and then she could climb up and take that back point. So you could score 3 here if you get Hera.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, Kanan's probably fine. You can do the similar thing of dashing Ezra there.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like Ryan spent 2 force to reserve. I'm not sure who he reserved. Did you catch that?
No, I missed that. Um, he, I might have heard him say Chopper at some point there, but I didn't catch if that was a reserve. Yeah, he's looking at what Chopper can do, I think.
If he reserved someone and then drew into Chopper, that might have been what happened. Yeah, if he got something
Yeah.
like Sabine into Chopper here with his draw.
Mm. So yeah, I'll get over with there with Chopper. So now he'll now have to get the shove
He just
on
needs
the Dark Trooper.
just yeah, just needs one shove. So one step.
Doing the 4 damage and a shove again with those 3 steps. And so we will get that priority objective. And that will allow Ezra to go for the point that Vader's on potentially later.
If Chopper didn't wound them, right? He came up just short. If he had wounded them, Ezra could have repositioned. But it looks like he
Right.
looks like he was a damage short.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Might have been yeah. So
Oh yeah, that would have been a
yeah,
cool
it
play
makes me
there.
wonder if it's worth it to go for the mayhem to try and get the expose there.
Mm-hmm. He's probably feeling the crunch of his having to use 3 force on that turn already.
Yeah, that's where it's tricky because you've already
Yeah.
burnt a lot of force.
So yeah, he was thinking about it, I think.
Yeah.
But setting against it, so that'll be 2 points, and it's on Donovan's side, so he'll get a momentum.
Donovan needs a wound here, and for Vader to take that point to win.
Right.
Vader probably can't. He doesn't have the force to get his extra dice here, so he
right.
probably can't kill Chopper, but he can at least probably shove him off the point.
So yeah, taking his move.
He engaged with Ezra.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, he is kind of, I guess if the board state was different, it would be a bit of a dangerous loop that he's getting in where he can't spend for the extra dice, and he's going to keep having to activate Vader until Vader wounds somebody.
Yeah. I think attacking Ezra here is kind of risky. If you don't wound him and Ezra gets his dash, he can take that back point that Vader just left.
Yeah, that's true too. So he is.
It looks like he did wound Ezra, though.
Yeah. Yeah, he is getting the wound. Because he's looking at getting a jump off his tree and also giving a dash to another Galactic Empire character.
Yeah.
And yeah, getting the shove, so he got the full tree on that. And for the first time in this game, we will see a Kanan Revenge trigger.
Yeah.
So he gets momentum. So we won't flip the priority points, so we'll only be getting 2 points off of that. I'm going to give the dash to Gideon, just to kind of move him more into the board where he can be more useful on his turn.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so Ryan's hopeful. He's doing the jump with Kanan, hoping that he can get a reposition off of his revenge attack in order to steal that back point. Looking at his options between Death Trooper Escort and Stormtrooper Sergeant.
Yeah, if you're just fishing for the reposition, I think Sergeant's the choice. If you want the momentum for the wound, Escort's pretty close to being down, but I think you're right. You really want that reposition.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, he is gonna go for the wound on Death Trooper Escort. Let's see. They do have the same defenses.
Oh, you're right. For some reason, I thought Stormtrooper Sergeant had one less dice. Yeah. So
Right.
so this makes perfect sense. You go for the wound and the same chance of getting the reposition.
Yeah, and I think he does get it. Yep, so that'll be a momentum for him. Getting the follow-up.
I get a momentum. You score 3.
And yeah, he
Looks like
doesn't
he
get the
gets the wound,
reposition.
but not the reposition. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was Donovan's turn, so he will get his 2 points.
Expertise, so it's my point.
And so Ryan's got the priority on the point that he has, which is nice.
So I can reposition Kane into that point. Maybe Hera can take that point. Do I want to do the recover stuff? I believe so, because I can't have you
Looks like he got Hera.
killing things at the
Hera's great
Mhm.
here. Hera can score him every point.
So we have Zeb.
Yeah, he's talking through the reposition for Kanan, or the advance, I guess it would be.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully being able to push Fifth Brother off of the
Yeah.
point that she's close to. Having to spend a momentum for the recover stuff. So everyone within 5, removing 3 damage and a condition.
And he's looking at that advance, and he can't quite get Sabine onto the point because of where Fifth Brother is. Hera will need to get 3 steps through in Fifth Brother to get him off the point because of Steadfast.
Right.
Because I can't shove you off. There's only 3 damage on you. She's not killing you. I just have to decide who I'm advancing. I think we do Kanan.
Well, you couldn't advance Ezra anyways. Well, no, is it a reposition?
It's a reposition with that, which he couldn't get up there. Maybe there's a ladder. Yeah, let's get Kanan on a point. Actually.
So looking at who to give the advance for the tactic.
Where's my 2? It's really bright. I should be able to see it.
Yeah, there's a couple of yeah, I think moving Kanan onto that point is fine. If you could get Sabine or Zeb onto that back point, that's what 100% I would do, but I'm not sure you can actually get there. He's measuring
Mhm.
that out to see if he can with that Ingress point and Zeb, but it looks like
Yeah.
it's just shy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the conclusion he's getting to as well. So yeah, gonna do the advance for Kanan. So that'll get that back, that left point for him.
I don't know that I have another option. Because I shoot you, it's not going to get you off. There it is. She'll climb up.
So doing the climb.
And yes, she has to stay on this side. We have 6 dice.
Yeah, staying on spread a little light because that has the 2 shoves.
Having to do a melee attack here is tough.
Yeah, a bit worse expertise, 1 less dice.
1 more dice for Fifth Brother.
Right, that too.
Is the damage and a recover. So nothing.
Just 1
Yeah,
step.
Just 1 step through, yeah. Which, yeah, the protection means it'll do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, now he's looking at the we will not stand down. If there's some way that that can help him out.
We're waking up Ezra. I'm going to get a lot of movement very soon. So, yeah, we'll spend the 2 force.
I'm not sure I would spend the 2 force here. It's great to get Ezra up, but he's not changing your point scoring here. And I think you want that force because you're so low on it to be able to affect changing a point.
Right. Because, yeah, he's one of the ones that's kind of in the middle of your active objectives. So, so yeah, not. I mean, he's getting up to proper elevation. I guess he's maybe thinking about pulling him back towards fifth brother. But everyone else is kind of on that side of the board already.
Yeah.
But he did get 3 points.
Did
on
get
that
3.
turn.
And momentum for
And
it
his
ending
momentum
on.
back. Oops.
And so we have.
So Donovan's getting Death Trooper Escort here.
The priority is Kanan's point.
Right. Yeah, so looking at how Donovan has full force and Ryan has spent 5 out of his 6.
Yeah, I spent 2 for reserve, I spent 1 for the jump, and I spent 2 for We Will Never Stand Up.
So Donovan's going to spend 1 to reserve Death Trooper Escort. He's kind of on the wrong side of the board currently. And he does get pull into Stormtrooper Sergeant. Not necessarily.
Did he not move anyone with the tactics ability? Because I think if he
I didn't
had
see
moved
anyone move.
if he moves the Dark Troopers, he could guarantee that priority point by also putting them up that Ingress point.
Right. Yeah, I think he skipped that.
Yeah. Because that would guarantee score him 3 here.
Mm-hmm.
So if he gets the pin shove here.
Oh, yeah.
Which it looks like he did, so.
Well. Stormtrooper Sergeant just dealing with Kanan.
Yeah.
So getting the 3 points.
Looks like he has Zeb, which will have to spend his last force to get that priority point, but or I guess maybe he has Zeb in reserve and is thinking about.
Shatterpoint can dash. No point in considering if you have 1 force. He has Gideon. You have to use that. Yeah, no, I haven't flipped the card yet. Oh, I thought you flipped. I'm debating whether to use Zeb. He's in reserve. Okay. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so Zeb was the one in reserve.
They can all put Ezra on that point.
So yeah, he's thinking about his options before he draws.
Yeah, there's literally not a world where I can't put Ezra on the point. So Ezra goes to here. Kanan gets to dash.
So he
Sounds like he either.
Yeah,
he
I picked
drew.
Kanan.
Yeah.
So putting Ezra onto the point was Stormtrooper Sergeant. That'll flip that one for sure. And then Kanan's going to head over to deal with Fifth Brother.
Yep.
It might be smart to wound Dark Trooper so that you can't do it yourself with Gideon or Shatterpoint, which are both in your deck. So he'll go to the ladder. Or no, he's just going to climb. We need to end out.
He's also looking at wounding Dark Troopers so that they Moff Gideon can't just do the last 2 damage and wake them back up right away.
The cost of doing that is that he won't be contesting that point. So I guess he's shooting them first and then climbing up so that he'll contest the point. That makes sense.
Right. So getting 3 damage and a shove through.
Get a momentum. Now we climb
Get the wound for momentum.
Yep.
And so yeah, that will be a 4-point swing. Oh, it looks like I got some slightly off there somewhere. It's the struggle tracker is landing on the 1. It was on 5 before. So Ryan will get a momentum, but Donovan won't because it's not landing on the 0.
So if you're Donovan, what do you want to draw here?
Is a good question. So yeah, the Dark Troopers being wounded does definitely have an effect on that, on how much he can accomplish.
Yeah.
Yeah, did
I wonder
priority?
if you just
Did he?
so he gets Vader.
Yeah, he must have rolled for priority, and it's the one Stormtrooper Sergeant is on.
Yeah.
And so he's just gonna run over and outbody Ezra on that point. Also engaged, so we can do an attack.
We might see a second Kanan trigger here.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. If Vader gets the wound as well, he can give out that dash to anyone on the board. I guess that could help Moff, Gideon,
Yeah.
get up over
Can
by
Moff
Kanan
make it
as
onto
well.
that point? Yeah, if he can make it onto that point, that'd be big.
Yeah, I don't think he'll get on the point, but he could at least be moving over there.
Yeah.
He'd end up behind Kanan, I think.
He did get the wound.
All right. So that'll be a momentum. I don't remember where Death Trooper. Oh yeah, I think he's Death Trooper escort is kind of hiding down by Zeb there. So yeah, he's gonna dash a Dark Trooper up the ingress points so that they don't have to
Looks
dash
like he is.
or jump.
Yeah, it looks like he has Dark Troopers in reserve, so he's set up for a really big swing with them. His next activation.
I think it's Death Trooper because he's got the tactic.
That's that. Got it. Yep. You're right.
But he will get. He got the 2 points from that priority objective. And it sounds like Ryan's getting the Shatterpoint. So yeah, now they're clarifying when Ezra would leave the board. So if Hera uses "We Will Not Stand Down," which he doesn't have force for, I guess, but he would get another injured token, and but not come off the board until his turn, even though he's got the 2 injured tokens.
Losing Ezra off the board for struggle 3 just feels like. What's the name of Era's power?
But at the same time, there's 2 bodies there, so he can't.
Stand down.
He won't.
I'd have to.
He doesn't have a tie to break there either.
If I go 4 down my tree, I get it for free.
If you had the force, I think Hera makes a lot of sense here to advance Chopper to that point, and we will not send down Ezra, so you can win that point.
Mm-hmm.
But without that force, you're banking on getting 4 steps down the tree, which without Callus is far from a sure thing.
Right.
I wonder if you just sacrifice Ezra here and just say, hey, this will be his last activation. We'll push Vader off the point. We'll win the tie and score 4.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's the thing with Kanan having run away from that point. There's literally, other than Chopper, no one else to kind of go deal with it later.
Yeah.
I have to get 4 down her tree to get it for free. I don't think I'm doing that.
Because he really needs to swing that back point. Because if he doesn't, and he only scores 3, they both get momentum. And if Dark Troopers get drawn, or Shatterpoint for the Dark Troopers, then Donovan can just score 4 and win the game.
Right. Yeah, which I think is he's about to start counting out right now.
What cards are left in your order deck? Oh, I get to recover somebody. Yes.
Did Kanan get his revenge attack?
He is not revenge. I don't think he did do the revenge attack, actually. No.
No. Yeah, I think they did the Dark Trooper dash and then didn't get that attack off.
Yeah, no, you are correct.
Which he probably would have jumped and then shot to try and get or excuse me, attacked Fifth Brother to maybe get him off that point so he could leave it later.
Yeah, that makes the Dark Trooper activation a lot less scary. You get Fifth Brother off that point.
I think we're making pretty good time.
Yeah. Looking at where he can get Sabine to. Really considering all the options on this big Shatterpoint turn.
Yeah. Makes sense. These are tough spots. You really want to go through everything here.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot off his brother. And I have to figure out who else I'm gonna dash.
Who would you go for here, Dylan?
I think it's Sabine to just get her.
Yeah. It's tough because we've kind of talked through the Hera options. And then but yeah, you do, like, he kind of needs to be getting the other bodies to the other side of the board too, but you also don't want to spend your Shatterpoint just moving, say, Zeb or Sabine into the middle of nowhere. So he's going with Kanan, it looks like, giving Sabine the dash.
Shooting Fifth Brother.
Shooting Fifth Brother. Because yeah, he gets a dash himself from the tactic, so he kind of has to either use it or not and commit to this play.
Yeah, Kanan can really shore up your points here by getting Fifth Brother off, and then if Kanan moves to Chopper's point, it becomes really hard to take Chopper's point. There's Moff Gideon can take the Hera point, but there's just less like big explosive draws in the deck with Fifth Brother's not there to just guarantee that with Dark Trooper activation. So I like this as just as a securing your position play.
Yeah. Yeah, he is still looking at kind of going towards the one that Vader and Stormtrooper Sergeant are on. But yeah, he did get the wound and the push on Fifth Brother, so that's nice for that back point.
He can move towards there, but I'm not sure he can get contesting on the same elevation because where Ezra is on the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
I think I need to protect my own points. So he's going to reposition.
Oh, he has a reposition. So
Oh yeah. Okay.
yeah. So he got the reposition on that. Yeah, going back and securing the Hera point. I think you do want to secure one of your other points. I think this is right. Like make it really hard to take either the Hera point or the Chopper point. I kind of
Mm-hmm.
like going to the Chopper point more because you have Sabine and Zeb that can influence the Hera point.
I was about to say, yeah. Yeah, I agree. But that will get him the 3 points. They'll both get a momentum. And the Vader's point will be priority, so that's lucky for Donovan. And he's pulling the Shatterpoint.
Yeah.
Definitely getting a good order deck on Donovan's side
For
there.
sure. Looks like
And
he
yeah,
is going with Dark Troopers.
yeah. Just gonna go straight for Chopper.
This play makes sense. By getting Chopper off that point and putting 2 bodies there, Chopper really can't realistically take it back, and he has 2 bodies on that other point. So Ryan literally just has 1 point he can reasonably fight over.
Yeah. How likely do you think they get a wound out of this as well?
With no damage on Chopper plus protection, I don't think it's super likely. Plus being immune to pins, so you can't double down on like the damage from those conditions.
Right. Yeah, that pretty much negates their. Well, no, I guess not their
Well, they
first
can
step,
take
but
yeah.
cuts their first 2 steps in half, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, getting 3 damage and pin
So down to
on
2
each. Yeah,
on each attack. Yeah, so
I think so. Yeah. So he will flip it. Didn't bother shoving. I think he was going for that wound, picking the damage option.
yeah.
Getting his 3.
But then I think you win. You get that back. No, I think you got it, bud.
Yeah, I don't think there is a draw that Ryan has that can keep him in the game because he needs to get the priority point back and everything's too far away.
Yeah.
I should have paid attention and known that wasn't winning it for me. That was the biggest one.
Right. Yeah, definitely kicking himself about that that struggle 1 play where he thought he had it but didn't quite have it yet on Sabine's turn.
Yeah.
But I found as well, when I only played the one game with Spectre Cell, um, and I moved Ezra up quite aggressively, and so he spent most of the game where I looked at him and was like, okay, next time he activates, or like if he takes 2 more damage or something like that, then the next time he activates, he's off the board, and that's like
Yeah.
starting from early in struggle 2. Um, do you find that that is happening in your games as well?
Yeah, so I often lose a unit during Struggle 2. So losing
Mm-hmm.
commandos is what it usually is for me. And I think it's fine. Like I think the Shatterpoint Ezra there to score 4 and then he leaves the board is probably your highest value play there. But
Mm-hmm.
it can go bad. Like that Dark Trooper draw is just like as bad as you can get. I think moving Kane into that chopper point is about the same value as the Ezra play. I don't mind losing one model over the course of the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot harder though if you've lost struggle 1 to make that call,
Right.
because then your struggle 3 just gets that much more difficult. The good thing about Sabotage is that Donovan, if he had won struggle 2, Donovan wouldn't have been able to pick the layout, which can help a bit, but
Mm-hmm.
I I don't think losing a model is as game breaking or game losing as we often think it is.
Right. Yeah, I was just thinking with, because Ezra's got the tiebreaker that helps make up for the lack of bodies to some degree. Um, so just seems like it would be kind of not the body that you want leaving the board.
Yeah, if I could pick the body to leave the board, it wouldn't be Ezra. You're
Right.
100% right there. But
But you said you're having Rebel Commandos leave the board, and they're
yep,
one of your 2 body units. So um,
yeah.
so it must not kind of end up being as backbreaking as it might seem.
Your abilities that move stuff, can they all move them equally?
I can only really move support units with all my guys though. So Gideon,
Yeah, I believe I lost Commandos late struggle 2 in both of my Top Cut games at the GT. So,
Right.
mhm.
Yeah, I haven't had stuff leave the board um, myself, but I was playing a lot of Obi-Wan, um, Obi-Wan Republic, throwing Maul in there actually. But then my other list at this event was Dooku Mother Talzin. So,
Yeah.
um, and I even swapped B2s in for the Night Sisters. So even more,
That's my preferred build.
yeah, even more to chew through there.
Hmm.
One expertise is a crit. I have 2 crits and 2 hits. 2 crits total. And then plus a damage. 2 damage, so 3 damage, shove disarm.
So yeah, he did decide to go with Ezra here, pushing Stormtrooper Sergeant off, and so he'll get the 3,
It's not mission critical, right?
and
Is it still my turn, or I can't get more momentum? Okay, so you win.
and
Yes, you win.
With the
then
right priority
Ezra,
roll,
Because you get 2 points.
yeah, then Ezra leaves. And then it's just game,
right?
right? Well, with the right priority roll, yeah. So
I'm just curious if mission critical matters.
Yeah. So the priority would have been the expertise there. I think they might have just called Mission Critical there as well. So
yeah,
really sealing the deal.
yeah, super well played by Donovan there. Just
Mm-hmm.
really tight gameplay that really like pushed those inefficiencies sometimes that came from the 6 bodies on Spectre,
Hmm.
and just really solid Empire play there all around.
Yeah, I found it really interesting looking at the kind of the matchups and stuff because the top four um, was literally three people running Kanan with something as their main list,
Hmm.
and then Donovan with his Empire list. So, and everyone was, well, Ryan had the Spectre Cell full team. There was a pairing with Mando and a pairing with Leia. So people doubling down on those revenge triggers. So I was interested in because, generally you think, okay, Empire going to be doing a lot of wounding, and the revenge lists are what are kind of the counter to that right now. Um, but he had Gideon Vader and was doing like really well against those lists. So yeah, it was really interesting to see, especially with Vader, this Empire team playing really leaning so far into the control game, um, and still doing some wounds. I think it would. Well, yeah, he got what was
2 on
it?
Ezra.
Just the two on Ezra, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, still really just leaning into the control and not having to do a lot of wounds and set off those revenge triggers with this list.
Yeah, I think I know people have various opinions on Moff Gideon, but I've always found him to be the hardest Empire primary to play Spectre into. That
Right.
reserve tax is just really tough, and his Long Live the Empire plus giving out a dash is a good amount of extra movement. So plus bringing 8 squad points, like
Mm-hmm.
7 always has that weakness of you have that 3-point person, but you're bringing the 8, so you don't really have that like weakness of 2 3s if you're playing him with like a Vader Thrawn list. So
Mm-hmm.
I like Moff Gideon a lot into Spectre.
Yeah. Yeah, because they've got the same kind of Republic issue where they're often wanting to reserve to make sure their order deck is right for them.
Yeah, and especially if you're playing the Hera variations, you can
Mm-hmm.
get away without reserving, but sometimes reserving to get the right order is just what you need in order to get your big swing turns.
Right. Yeah, and then unfortunately he um kind of needed to use that reserve early in the deck, because Zeb wasn't going to do anything for him points wise, which
Yeah.
ate up his force right off the hop with that deck refresh.
Yeah, and he reserved into like a 50-50 shot of what he needed. He either needed Kanan, Ezra, or Shatterpoint, right? Well, I guess Hera would have also done that. So he had a 4 out of 6 chance of reserving Zeb and then getting the card he needed. And then he reserved into Chopper, which was one of the ones he didn't really want. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. So unfortunate, unfortunate order deck there as well. Um, but yeah, um, what do you see changing? I guess if if Callus and Rebel Commandos are swapped in this game.
so Hera not shoving off fifth brother. You with the Callus rerolls, there's a chance that that can actually happen. He didn't roll super great anyways,
Right.
so maybe that doesn't change, but that does change maths on that. It allows Kanan to fish for rerolls for that reposition when he wounded Death Trooper Escort on his revenge trigger, which could have swung him a point there.
Right.
And Sabine didn't do a whole lot this game. She just ended up, she only got to go once, but then she didn't get on the point to score stuff. So she
Right.
didn't have super high impact there. As
Yeah.
far as Rebel Commandos, it just gives you, if he could have one where Zeb was and then one on the other side of the board, you know, pushing up, trying to score there, it just means he had another card in his deck that could have threatened that side of the board.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's my kind of why I'm more comfortable with the two body supports, because you do at least have more of an option to be able to affect 2 points instead of just one there.
Yeah, the other thing that could have happened with Callus that I think actually would have been a really big play was when Chopper, he's 2 damage short of wounding the Dark Troopers. And so if he re-rolls into one more step, he wounds the Dark Troopers and he can reposition Ezra onto that back point.
Right. Yeah, that's another good spot for that. Yeah, because he would share 2 tags with everyone. 3 with Ezra, 3 with Kanan. Right. Yeah. So yeah, two dice re-rolling on Chopper. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting the number of places where the possibility of that one more step could have a big impact.
Yeah, I found it to be quite impactful in my games. And it's not that I don't think Sabine is good, don't get me wrong. Like the being able to jump when you're sometimes it's like, okay, Hera's going to give someone an advance, but what I really need is a jump here. You can jump her up. That's really good. So she can have her own type of unique impact. But I've found I've really liked Callus. And I think Sabine Callus can really fit well in the Mando lists and the Leia lists, like something like the Ezra, Sabine. I kind of feel like the different primary you have with Kanan kind of influences what my favorite secondaries to go with them are. Like I really like Ezra Callus with Mando. Like we can go like Sabine Callus with Princess Leia. I like Ezra, and you can do like Ezra Sabine. You can do some interesting things because Callus doesn't give as many rerolls to Princess Leia. So you all 3 have their place in this building for sure. You're not gonna feel awful when you take one and leave the other on the table. Off the table, I mean.
Which is exactly what you want in a game like this, where each unit is kind of has a spot where you're gonna lean one way or the other.
Yeah, and with the Empire list, I like the Dark Troopers with Vader. I think that's a nice mix in there because they help mitigate some of the weakness of the Stormtrooper Sergeant. And we know that DT is just super solid with Moff Gideon.
Yeah.
And you get the double tie break going on. That's just a super solid Empire list.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, kind of, I mean, maybe a little arguable with the Iden box, but this is kind of just a pack the good stuff in a list. I guess when you're looking for that control game over just trying to wound everybody.
Yeah, this is a very much a control oriented Empire list. Like if you're going for more the like straight up like Iden good stuff, then my favorite Iden good stuff list is straight Moff box, straight Iden box.
Mm-hmm.
But the people have seen success with lots of different variations of Iden.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Cool. So, thank you very much for coming on to co-commentate this game. I'm sure the viewers will appreciate your insight here as well. And
I super
congratulations.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, good. And congratulations on your big win there at the Grand Tournament. And do you got any other kind of closing thoughts?
Just keep up doing this, Dylan. This is great content. We love having it in the Shatterpoint community. If I can just give a quick shout out to my podcast, if that's all right.
For
If
sure.
I'm one of the co-hosts on Zion's Finest. So if you want to, if you're like, he had some interesting thoughts on the game, if you want to hear a bit more, you can check us out. We're on most podcast streaming apps. So
Yeah, absolutely. I thank you for for doing that. I meant to mention that in the introduction, but yes, he's a common, um, I guess what would you consider it, host or guest,
I would
on
co-host. Yeah.
co-host on that podcast, and there's a Slack as well, which you're active on. I enjoy being active on that as well. So yeah, if you're looking for more of Sam, then definitely check those out. I'll remember to put links in the description for this video as well for those.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So that's the end of this top 4 match. And subscribe if you would like to see more of these videos.